Google Maps is a huge database. Indeed, every time you perform a search, you get a list of companies, and each business contains commercial information, segmentation data such as reviews, opening hours or location, and contact data such as telephone number or website. To gather all of these, scripts are created to automate large-scale extraction. This process is known as web scraping. Scraping Google Maps, yes, but for what purpose? Usually it's for prospecting, but not always. More specifically, you can find leads with better targeting. Targeting through filters, locations or categories. You can also monitor the competition, get an idea of prices charged, facilities in a place, or even the dishes listed on a menu. Finally, you can locate a new catchment area based on businesses nearby. In all cases, one might wonder, how do I script Google Maps? To do this, we use the Google Maps API with JavaScript. In this video, we will cover the basics of the APIs with 3 examples: geolocating an address, searching for businesses, and displaying an itinerary. Before making use of the Google Maps API, we have to create an API key. So I go to console.cloud.google.com and I'm going to create a new project. I select a project, I create a new project, I give to my project a name and I click on create. It will take a few seconds and I select my project. My project is selected. Each time I'm going to use an API, I will have to activate it beforehand. In that case, I go to API and Services, Library, and if I want to use the Geocoding API, for example, we will use it in a few minutes. I click on Geocoding API and I enable it. Once it is done, I will automatically have access to my API key. If it's not done already, you will also have to create a billing account. It's due to the fact that the Google Maps API is a paid API. And if I need to take a look at my API key one more time, I click on Keys and Credentials, and here it is. To geolocate an address, we are going to use the Geocoding API. Its purpose is the following. Based on a place ID or a formatted address, we will be able to retrieve coordinates, meaning the latitude and the longitude. So to write the code using JavaScript, it might look something like this. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it work. It seems like developer is not my job. However, I know a little bit of code, and with JSON on request, we can end up with a similar result. Actually, the process is pretty straightforward. Here is the URL. We just have to replace the output format by JSON or XML. In our case, we will use JSON, and the parameters by some parameters. The first one is places ID or address, and the second one is our API key. Pretty straightforward. So the first thing I'm going to do is to import JSON and to import requests. Let's make our request request.get. I insert the beginning of my URL. I can simply copy and paste it. I replace output format by JSON and the parameters. So the first one is the address, and the address I'm going to implement is the following. Unfortunately, I cannot directly insert it as it is because it's not an encoded address. As you can see, we have white spaces, we have commas, and all of these are kind of special characters. So we'll have to reformat this address. To do it, I import URL lib.parse. I create a variable address, which is my address, and I create another variable which is named encoded address, and it is equal to URL lib.parse.quote address. And if we print encoded address to see what the result looks like, we have an encoded address, which means an address we can insert within a URL. Let's come back to our requests. I can create an f-string address which is equal to encoded address, and I end up by inserting my key, and key equal my key. There we go. Let's see if we've got something. It seems our request is valid. I can type error.text to see what the result kind of looks like, but we have imported JSON, it's to make use of it. So I create a data variable which is equal to air.json. And we have something which is a JSON. If I want to extract the latitude and the longitude, it is located just here. So how to reach both of them? Let's start by the latitude. The latitude is located within results, the data results 0, then geometry, location, and lit. I copy and paste the code to find the longitude, lng. And here is how I can scrape the latitude and the longitude. For the second example, we are going to scrape leads based on a category and the location. And we can do that thanks to the Places API, or to be much more specific, thanks to the Nearby Search API. Before using it, please make sure that you have enabled the API. And as usual, if you want to make use of JavaScript, you can find the code in the description. But same thing as the first example, even though we are not developers, we can perfectly do that. Everything is clearly written in the documentation. We are going to copy and paste the code and we'll reformat it afterwards. As an example, we are going to scrape 10 restaurants in New York. And what we are going to do is to create two JSON, the first one with this data and the other one with the other part. We will call this JSON payload, for example, which is equal to all of this. We want to scrape restaurants. We want 10 restaurants. As a number, I can write something from 1 to 20. And here is the location restriction. The location is a cycle with a radius of 500 meters. It can be from range 1 to 50,000. Maybe we are going to change the latitude and the longitude. To do that, we can simply make a Google Maps search. I click on a point and I've got the coordinates, the latitude and the longitude. Here we go. Now I create another JSON file. It will be named headers and I insert the content type. I put a comma. Then I insert my API key. Here is my key, comma, and the last thing we are going to add is the field mask. What is a field mask? Field mask is the set of data fields we are going to extract. Here we will make things simple. We are only going to extract companies' names and formatted addresses. So Google field mask. So to find the related field mask, I have to take a look at the documentation. I scroll down a little bit and here they are. Places display name. I put a comma followed by my second data field, which is places.formatted address. I think everything is set up. Now I can make use of request, but this time we are not going to make a request.get. We are going to make a request.post. Post, the URL is the following, and the first parameter I insert is JSON, which is equal to payload, and the second one is headers, which is equal to headers. I've made a mistake is because I have to insert this within quotes. There we go, and if I type air.json, I've got 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10 elements. The last example I'm going to show you will enable us to create kind of directions on a map. As usual, you can find the JavaScript code in the description, but in my case, I'm going to do something slightly different by using the directions API. If we take a look, the request URL looks something like this, which sounds very similar to the first example we have done. Output format, JSON or XML, and parameters. And actually we have a lot of parameters. So directions API, what is its purpose? Its purpose is to determine the travel time or the directions from a point A to a point B. So as parameters, we are going to insert the origin, the destination, the mode, meaning walking, driving, bicycling or transit, the API key, and the departure time. Alright, I'm going to create my 5 variables. Origin, which is equal to place ID, because for the origin and destination we can input an address, coordinates, or places ID. So to find out these two IDs, I have made use of the Geocoding API, place ID of Montreal, and as a destination, place ID of Ottawa. The mode, actually I don't have to insert the mode because by default it will be equal to driving. The key and the departure time. In that case, we are not allowed to insert a date, we have to insert a timestamp, meaning the number of seconds since the 1st January 1970. We can write a little bit of code to convert a date into a timestamp, or we can make things simpler and go to epochconverter.com. We type a date and we click on human date to timestamp. I've got my timestamp. Now let's make use of requests. I copy and paste my URL. I change my output format to JSON and I insert my parameters one by one. Let's create an f string then. Departure time is equal departure time, and origin is equal to origin, and destination is equal to destination, and mode is equal to mode, and key is equal to key. Very well. r.json. So here is something, and it seems like we can drive from Montreal to Ottawa in 2 hours. Although very versatile, using the Google Maps API does have some limitations in terms of daily quota and error handling. To fill these gaps, we have created Scrap.io. Scrap.io is a perfect solution for scripting Google Maps without coding. You can get your CSV or Excel file of leads in just a few clicks. You just insert a category, a location, and retrieve the corresponding data. The link to Scrap.io is in the description. This is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. You can give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and by clicking the link in the description leading to Scrap.io, you can get the first 100 leads free of charge. See you next time.